Mosque project is put on hold.
We thank you for coming.
Back.
You will have to bear with us, or especially me, if during this announcement I get a little bit emotional. This has been, of course, for us a very, very difficult, trying time. We have been in very much thought and prayer over this whole period. A lot of times we were asked, what would it take to call this thing off? We have thought it over many times. We felt very convinced that we should do this. We thought about what would have to happen for us to call our event off. As we prayed about that, in the past we did have one idea. This idea we put out in prayer to God, that if He would want us to call this off, if we have accomplished our goal, then our thought was the American people do not, as a whole, want the mosque at the Ground Zero location. That if they were willing to either cancel the mosque at the Ground Zero location, or if they were willing to move that location, if they were willing to move it away from that location, we would consider that a sign from God. We have, or he has, been in contact with the Imam in New York City. With the Imam here, I will be flying up there on Saturday to meet with the Imam at the Ground Zero Mosque. He has agreed to move the location.
I have conveyed my deep concerns to Pastor Jones and the gravity of the situation, and because he does not like to see anyone get hurt because of an action being taken here, and because I, like many Americans, Muslims and non, feel that the placement of a mosque near the Ground Zero location is unnecessary, and it has become a clear provocation to many people to be violent against mosques across the nation. I have made this morning contact with the office of Imam Faisal Abdul Rauf and got a commitment to fly up to New York and meet with him in the company of Pastor Jones to discuss and come to a decision on relocating the mosque in New York. We are committed to dissolving the situation here and there. I want to thank Pastor Jones for his courage and his willingness to take these serious events that are unfolding, to take into consideration the safety of our troops across the world and the safety of all Americans traveling or doing business abroad, and to also consider the safety of all people, including Muslims, and to step back from his position and to be in line with Scripture, to love your neighbor as yourself. And I want to thank him and his church members and his leadership for making the decision today to diffuse the situation and bring to a positive end what has become the world over a spectacle that no one would benefit from except extremists and terrorists who would have used this to recruit even more young people, impressionable people, to become future radicals. I want to send a message today to the Muslim world that the United States still and will always be the place where people of all faith and all colors can coexist in peace, that the rights of Muslims in this country are respected, and that of all other religions. As American Muslim leader, I believe that this is the best place to live on earth. And I feel strongly about that. I want the Muslims on this day, when they're going to celebrate one of the holiest days in the year in our calendar, Eid al-Fitr, that the country we call home, the United States of America, is a wonderful country, and its people are the finest people.
You call this a triumph of faith, sir?
And we call on all Muslims around the world to follow the teachings of Muhammad and the Quran, and to stop the hatred and radicalism that has given our religion a bad name. I stand for Islam, I stand for peace, and I call on my brothers and sisters the world over to stand with me in the face of all radicals. This event was not meant for all of this, but I'm glad that it has resulted in a good outcome.
Okay.
I want to thank you again, and Pastor Jones has expressed his desire to return back to his church without answering questions, and I respect his wish. I'll be available for answering questions in 5 minutes. Thank you.
Truth.
All right, a very strange turn of events. Apparently some sort of at least announced quid pro quo from Gainesville outside the church there with Pastor Terry Jones. So I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves because we can only deal with what we know right now. But this is what we announced. Shannon Ogden here with Patty Crosby. They just announced that the mosque planned to be built in Lower Manhattan in New York near the Ground Zero site, that, as you know, that has been building up so much controversy over that planned site, that Pastor Jones, Terry Jones, says in exchange for not holding the Quran burning Saturday in Gainesville, that the Imam in charge of the mosque and community center to be built in New York has agreed not to build it there. Again, we do not yet have independent confirmation from New York if that is true. You saw that another Imam from Central Florida, Muhammad Musri, saying that is in fact the plan. Here's all we know for sure. That's what they're saying is the agreement. We know for sure that Pastor Jones has said he has called off the planned Quran burning. He said he would do that if he got a sign from God. He's calling this a sign from God. So what we do know for certain, he claims that this event now is over for Saturday.
He also says he's planning to go up on Saturday to Ground Zero to meet with the Imam there for them to talk more about this. But as you mentioned, he considered the action that they're talking about, of course we haven't attributed it yet or confirmed it yet, that this was a sign of God for him. Also, the Imam from Central Florida, Muhammad Musri, was saying that he felt that this was, of course, a good decision. Brings us to a positive end, that they were very concerned about the end of Ramadan and that all the sermons being focused on the burning of the Quran. So he expressed to Pastor Jones his strong feelings about how this could be, how this could be such a recruiting tool around the world for radicals of many kinds.
And as you know, this I'm sorry, this is still breaking news. What are we being told over here?
He's on the phone.
He's on the phone right now? Okay. Okay,
We're
I'm sorry.
Get to him in a moment.
This is all developing as you're seeing it. So, backing up a few days ago, as you know, this pastor for a very small church, radical church in Gainesville, Florida, said, to commemorate 9/11, we're going to burn copies of the Quran. You know what happened. It really took off. The president has commented. The Pope has commented. Movie stars and the like have commented.
General David Petraeus.
Asking
like
to call it off. In fact, I spoke with a soldier earlier today, and we're talking about the reaction there in Afghanistan. We have somebody on the phone now? Okay, Dr. Ahmad is on the phone from here in Jacksonville on the Human Rights Commission here in Jacksonville City Council. Are you there, Dr. Ahmad?
I am here.
Yes?
Yeah, can you hear me? I'm here.
Yes,
okay,
we can hear you.
It's a little muddled. I apologize for that. You saw this very strange announcement. Do you have any reason to believe this is not what it claims to be?
I do not know what this announcement is. I just heard it from Ken, and if this is what it is, then it's a good news that if he drops his stunt of burning Qurans, then that would be certainly welcome news. It would be certainly welcome for our image in this area, and also for the safety and security of our troops overseas.
What about the plans to, if it is in fact true, Dr. Ahmed, to move the planned mosque in New York, almost as if I don't know if he was holding it hostage, if that's the right term, but something that it was powerful enough. The image, the possible image of those Qurans burning was enough to, to shift this enormous issue in New York. I don't know. I'm a little shocked by this.
I do not know what's the relationship of this with the New York mosque, and I do not know what's happening in the background. But as I've written about this before, that certainly the people in New York have the right to build their house of worship wherever they choose to, as long as it's within legal limits. But also at the same time, it would be wise for them to consider what are the sentiments of their neighbors and their community there, and act in a way that actually helps them to heal the community. Their objective in building this Islamic community center is to promote understanding and tolerance and build bridges. So in the spirit of that, they have to be open enough to consider other possibilities. That if they consider that and it fits within their objective, that they are able to relocate this in a way that they are still able to execute and undertake the kind of activities that they wanted to undertake to begin with, and it helps in building bridges of understanding with other communities in their neighborhoods, then I think everybody wins.
Dr.
I think we
Ahmed,
would like to see that kind of spirit in these kind of faith-based initiatives.
Dr. Ahmed, what do you think the reaction is going to be in our local Muslim community? How do you think people are going to take this, hearing the news about the mosque possibly being moved in New York, and what Terry Jones is saying today?
Again, I do not know exactly what the connection is between the mosque in New York and Terry Jones. If Terry Jones does not go through with his stunt, then obviously it would be pleasing to not only Muslims, but also to people of all faiths.
Isn't that
because people of all faiths have spoken out against this kind of behavior. So I think everybody would be relieved that finally he was able to see the wisdom of not going through with his threat.
All right, Dr.